Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to tell you guys a story time. Let me back up. Everything's in the way. Okay, so today I'm going to tell you a story time. And okay, first off, I just want to put this out there. Everything I say on my channel is 100% true. I don't see the point in lying. I'm a good Christian, so every story you hear, everything I talk about is gonna be completely true. I'm never gonna put this in any other video because you guys don't really need that like every time you hear a story time. Okay, so let's get started. On this day, I went out gardening. So I have a garden. If I'm being really honest, my garden sucks. Like it's really dead. I'll probably show you guys the garden another day, but yeah, it's not growing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not really a great gardener, but on this day, I wanted to de-weed the garden. So I'm de-weeding the garden and hold on. Let's start over. I'm so sorry. Okay. So, before I even come outside, I open the door. Okay, focus. Okay, sorry. So, I open the door. And when I opened the door, I have really bad allergies and I just smelled like grass. And I knew instantly that maybe it wasn't the best thing to be gardening at this point of the day or at this particular day because there was like a lot of pollen in the air. And I didn't want to get allergic. But like, okay, I swear to God, I had this gut feeling that told me you need to garden. So I went outside and I started gardening. Everything was fine. I had my phone, the one I'm recording on right now, and I was listening to Billie Eilish and I was just jamming out. I was picking weeds. I was like, oh, here's a weed, here's another weed. And all of a sudden, I hear this voice from over here, like on the side of me in my, I don't know how to say it, vision? Peripheral vision? There you go. Okay, so it was in that vision and I hear someone say, "Excuse me," and I look over and I'm like, because I got scared because I was like, "Oh my god." So where I was gardening, I was crouched down. I was like on my knees, just picking weeds, like in the dirt, and two cars were like hiding where I was at. So I wasn't like my neighbors could see me, but I wasn't really in a clear view. But yeah, so this kid comes up and he's like, "Can I please use your phone? Can I please call 911?" And instantly, when I first see this kid, he's covered head to toe. I'm not even exaggerating. He was in bruises. Like, his arms were red. He had, like, a cut on his neck. Like, it was really bad. And I was like, oh my God. And, honestly, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was like, come into my house. I'm gonna get you ice packs. I'm gonna feed you whatever you need. I ran upstairs. I got my cell phone. I gave it to him, and he calls 911. So this kid, he calls 911, and he tells me that his dad basically beat the shit out of him. And I was like, when I first saw this kid, I ran up and I hugged him because I just felt like this a wave of emotions and I was like, oh my God, this kid needs my help. Like there was a reason why God wanted me outside that day. Like I had that gut feeling and I think that was like God telling me to stay outside to help this kid. And so I got really emotional when I saw him. Like I hugged him, I put him inside. I was like, if you need anything, just let me know. And I'm sorry. So the reason why I got so emotional was because I was abused as a kid and seeing that in 2019 there are still children out there being abused, it really got to me because I was like, shit, like it's fucking like sad. Like I'm sorry. But like he was sitting there and he called 911 and the police were coming and then he hung up the phone or whatever and they were asking him like his information about his dad, like what happened basically. And when he was sitting there, because he was sitting downstairs in my living room, or like in my, it's not really like a kitchen area. We have like a random table in the walkway area because we're still moving in, so we just have like a random table. But he was sitting there and he told me like the whole story. He was like, okay, I was in the car with my mom and my sister, and I was wearing my sister's t-shirt. So one thing I want to say is both him and his sister are the same size and they had the same jacket. So that's what he told me. And he said, I didn't realize it because in the morning time when I wake up, I just throw on clothes and I run to school. Because he lived like 3 miles away from school and he'd have to walk or bike every day. So he was like in a hurry, wake up at 6 o'clock and then leave. So he put on the shirt and he didn't realize that there was his sister's name like on the tag. So it was her name in pink, like on the side of the shirt. And when his mom went to go pick him up, him and his sister started arguing about the shirt basically. And she's like, take off my shirt, like that's my shirt. And he was like, oh, I really don't want to do it in front of you guys because that's weird. He didn't want to take off his shirt and be like shirtless in the car. So it's like understandable. So the reason why he didn't want to do that was because it's nudity, and because he was kind of like, he was like a fluffy kid, like, you know, he wasn't super skinny but he wasn't super chubby, but he was like fluffy, like in between. And I was like, okay, that's understandable. And so his mom and his sister started gaining up on him basically, or that's what he told me. And he said they forced me to take off my shirt, and I did. So once they got home, his mom was really mad about him not wanting to take off his shirt in the car. And she said, I'm taking away your PlayStation. And he started freaking out and he told me, he was saying, no, mom, like that's my PlayStation. Like, you know, he was like kind of, he was wrestling for the PlayStation because he was like, it's mine, like, you know. And she would like, you know, pull on the other side. Hold on, water break. Always hydrate, children. Okay, so they're fighting over this PlayStation. He eventually lets go of the PlayStation and lets her have it. And he told me his mom had like a neck brace because she went through like a surgery or whatever, but it was, I don't know what the hell happened, but he was trying to be gentle because he knew that she had like a neck brace. And then his mom said, oh, you just wait until your dad gets home, like he's gonna give it to you, basically saying that his dad is gonna beat, you know, his son. And so the dad gets home and this kid tells me, he's like, my dad reeked of alcohol, like I smelt it on his breath. And he saw his dad, and his dad came up to him and he was like saying, oh, so you think it's okay to put hands on your mom? And then the boy said, he was like, I never touched her, I didn't touch her. And then he blocked his hands like this because his dad started whipping him and like beating him with sticks and shit. And after that had happened, he told me that that's when he ran out of his house and was trying to find the nearest neighbor. So he was looking around, and that's when he found me gardening. And that's basically how we got to my house. And then to make matters worse, this kid was telling me how he was starving, how he didn't eat for like days, how his mom and his sister would allow his dad to abuse him and they wouldn't do anything about the situation. So like they knew it was happening, but they didn't stop or, you know, help him at all. And I just want to say, guys, like, take this story with a grain of salt because I only knew his side of the story. I didn't know the parents' side of the story. For all I know, he could have hit his mom. Like, I don't know the whole situation, but I do know that no kid deserved to look that messed up. Like, I'm not even kidding. He had the biggest scar on his neck. His arms were like covered in like red bruises, and it was just bad. Like, I was like, okay, like, say if he did hit his mom, that still wasn't okay, but at the same time, his bruises weren't okay either. So it was wrong two wrongs don't make a right situation. But yeah, he was badly messed up, basically. And while we're in the house, he was like telling me how he's starving. He was crying because he didn't want to go into foster care. And I was like, damn, like, I know how you feel, because a lot of kids, like, people don't like talking about this. And I'm not trying to say that every situation is the same, but foster children, they'll get raped, they'll get abused. Like, it's not in every foster home. This is not in the majority. It's only in a few bad eggs. Like, there's always a few bad eggs in every situation. But he was telling me how his like aunt went into foster care and she started doing heroin, and how his uncle committed suicide or something like that. I don't know, it was just crazy. But he was just telling me all the stuff about foster care, and he was crying, and I felt really bad because how do I say this? Why is my hair, what the hell is that? Okay, I'm sorry. What? Oh, okay. It's this one. Go like this. Okay. It's like, it's a floating hair. Okay, back to the story. I got sidetracked, my bad. But yeah, he was just telling me how he didn't want to go into it. And I felt bad because I was like, maybe I shouldn't have called, or I didn't call 911. Sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have let him use my phone to call 911. Like, I felt bad, and I was like, what if I'm the reason he gets separated from his parents? Like, God forbid, I don't even know what happened. Like, he hasn't been in contact with me, for obvious reasons. But, I, like, hope he's okay. But it was just really bad. And after that had happened, we were sitting there, and the door was wide open because I didn't want to make it seem weird or anything. And I saw this guy walking down the street with his cell phone in his hand. And I looked at him, and I was like, And I asked the kid, and I was like, oh, do you know anyone who looks like this? And the kid looked out the window too. We both looked out the window. Okay. Downstairs, not this one. And he said, oh, that's my uncle. And so the uncle comes in, because I was like, excuse me, sir. I have your nephew. I know that sounds really fucking weird, but your nephew's in my house. And I explained everything that happened, how I was gardening, how he came in, how he called the police, and blah, 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 blah. But the uncle made up some bullshit story. He was like, oh, he hit his mom, so of course he's gonna get beat the fuck up or whatever. And I was like, okay. In my head, I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, no kid deserves to get this abused just by hitting his mom. Like, sure, I already talked about two wrongs don't make a right, but like, I honestly feel like this kid had a reason to call 911 because, one, he couldn't walk on one of his legs, it was swollen, and he was really messed up, like, really messed up. Okay, so his uncle was just like calling some bullshit story, and he was like, he deserved to get beat up. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I go upstairs because this kid's asking me for like water or something. I forgot. Okay, so I go upstairs to get something, and I hear this kid yelling at his uncle while I'm upstairs, and he's like, Theo, you saw me and you didn't help me, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they were just yelling at each other, like going back and forth, bickering. The uncle leaves. He's outside of my house. The police show up, and this kid tells me, he's like, first off, my uncle was sleeping, and he didn't, like, hear anything, but he saw the end of it when I was running away. So I was like, okay. So, yeah, your uncle obviously didn't know what was happening, but I don't know if that's true either. I don't know if anything this kid was saying was true. All I knew was that I saw physical bruises on him, and he looked really hurt. So the police came, they questioned me, they questioned him. You know how police do it, they're just like, oh. And then the ambulance comes, and they come into my house with a big, like, you know, stretcher to, like, get this kid into the ambulance, because he can't walk. And so they pick him up, and the ambulance, like, they don't even say hello. They just fucking walk into my house. I'm like, okay, guys, like, just come in, I guess. Like, you know, if you guys are vampires, you're gonna kill me. No, like, but yeah, they were, like, not friendly. And one of them was, like, snooping around. And I was like, excuse me, don't go into that room. So yeah, they pick up the kid, they leave. The police, they don't question me at all. They're they're outside, the parents come outside, I hear the dad and he's like, "That's my fucking son in there." And I was like, "Oh god." I kind of shut the door. This was like a little bit earlier before the police came, but I kind of shut the door because I was like, "Please don't kill me. Like I was just trying to help your son." Okay. But yeah, so that happened. They all leave and I swear to God, like no one saw what happened. Everyone came home and like there were just police cars everywhere. The freaking neighbors were like outside looking in on like my house. It was just really awkward. Um and yeah, and so I realized that there was a sock that the kid had left behind because when the police officer came in, he asked the kid to like take his shirt off for video or photo evidence of him getting like hit and shit. And of course, when this happened, I like walked out of the room to give them privacy because I didn't want to see like that. Sorry, I keep burping. Okay, but yeah, that happened, and so I'm trying to like think. So the kid leaves, I grab the sock, I go outside, I give it to the mom, and as I'm giving it to the mom, because I know it's her because she has the neck brace on, I turn around and I see the kid's dad being put into the cop car, and I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. But yeah, I go inside, and it was just like a crazy freaking day. Like, I'm not, like, I don't know. Like, I've never heard of this happening to anyone. Like, honestly, I was freaking out. I was having like an anxiety attack because like one, the police were coming, like this little kid was getting into so much shit. I felt bad. He was like 16, but it still was like concerning because I was like, I don't want to seem like I was nosy. Like he came up to me, he put me in the situation. But I hope that this kid isn't in foster care. I hope his dad stops abusing him if he is abusing him. Um, and I pray that like the situation was okay. I hope everything's fine. But I don't know what happened to this kid. All I know is that he like lived up my street and that like I helped him. Like I gave him food and stuff, and I told him I was like, "Oh, if you ever need food, you could come to our house." He hasn't come by yet, so I don't know what the hell is going on. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you know of someone who's being abused, like please report it. Like please help them, okay? Like I don't want anyone in any situations like this. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Have a great day and just stay positive.